Hello and welcome to episode 30. I'm going to call it, I think it was 33 plus? I'm going to call it that. And the Woodland Realm campaign. Now, some of you may have been wondering where this campaign has gone. And, well, here it is. I actually recorded this quite a while ago. But the reason why I haven't put it up is just because it's a lot of piecing little bits of the puzzle together. Now, this is going to take us through turn 121 to 130, and rather than really doing like the usual style of video for this campaign and other campaigns, I decided to do it like this because, quite frankly, it was turning into a real slog, and one episode would probably only last one turn. So in turn 121, we took out the Dunlandings that were trying to besiege Khazad-dûm. We spent some money on troops and we built a few things naturally, and then we kind of gathered our armies in the north.
Swiftly. Warriors.
Now, as always, when you're in any war, it's important to keep on recruiting your units, because even though you're quite good at the moment, those units will eventually die. So you need to make sure that you've got a constant stream of troops moving forward. That way, you know, your juggernaut won't stop. And the reason also why I wanted to continue this campaign is partially because I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing it, or as the Woodland Realm. The only issue with it is that when you get bogged down with 3 different enemies, it can take it's a real effort to get out of that, and you just need to make sure that you defeat your enemies as quickly as possible, so that you can, and then you see that build up of income, and you get those masses of armies, and then at that point there's no stopping you. And we kind of reached that point in the campaign.
Scatter them. Lay it to ruins. Have your weapons ready, elves.
Now, on turn 122 then, we had a mission to take Rockburg, and we were of course already going to get that. And then there's also the strike at Berzikul up in the north against the Orcs of Gundabad. And then I finished with the battle at Rockburg and against the Orcs of Isengard, as you can hopefully maybe see here. I'm just going to add some clips here and there in the background. Hopefully this is still interesting. I don't know. Tell me. Depending how this goes, I will do a follow-up video where we kind of actually have somewhat of a live recording rather than me doing a voiceover. Because I did always want to take the city of Isengard in this campaign. And yeah, then there was a bunch of more troop movements to finish off the turn. And then in turn 123, Lorien actually took Limhir, which is good to see. And then the Dunlandings also attacked us in Ostinithil once again. And I found this really cool, like a couple of spots where you could just shoot over the wall, just using the natural terrain where, like, there's not actually a wall. You're just like inside the settlement, shooting from the top of the hill. And they were just allowing me to shoot them in the backs, which is bizarre. But I took advantage of it nonetheless. And despite the fact that not all of our archers were that good, even like the Woodland Scouts with their 6 missile attack were absolutely slaughtering the Dunlandings. And we were able to take out masses of them, which was fantastic. And that's the kind of thing that you really have to do at this stage in the campaign, because the AI just gets so many cheats, so many armies, it's ridiculous.
Only death claims any victory.
Now, we also, despite the fact also that we just took Rockburg, we had the first of many sally-out battles against the Orcs of Isengard, or the Urukai, if you'd like to call them. And we will be making a return to that. But then on the 124th turn, Sith Pantheon, one of our most noble generals, he held the bridge at Entwade, and against quite a determined force of orcs, I might add. We actually took some heavy losses there, I think. Mainly due to the fact that, yeah, they have a lot of armor, these Isengardians. And even though we've got an 8 missile attack, it does very little when the opponent has 12 armor. And then when you whack a shield on top as well, you know, what you really want are some crossbows or a ballista, as I found out in my Gondor campaign. But with all these troops dying, we were actually beginning to make money again. So you kind of want to whack that into some more troops, get them rolling on in. And, yeah, another sally out at Rockburg. Now, you might also ask, why am I carrying on, like, sallying out? Well, obviously, you take some attritional losses, but you deal more damage to the enemy in this kind of engagement. I feel like it's worth it anyway. Despite the fact that we take some losses, they take far more. So, and our army isn't massively well suited to fighting against them in the field, I think. But 125th turn, we see the battle at Berzakul. And this was, I'll tell you right now, it was a real pain, honestly. It was a real pain. But we saw some half-trolls in there, and I don't think there were any actual trolls, though, so that was a good thing. But the Hinadaur, I did shoot with my one unit of Hinadaur, I shot in the rear of some of the orcs whilst they were engaged with some of my forces from the front, and it went exactly as I expected, basically, that because they have the Silver Thorn arrow, they pierce bodies. I actually ended up taking more of my own soldiers out than the orcs, because they have far more armor than my folks did. But it went well in the end. And then there was a whole heap of construction once again. And that was the end of the Orcs of Gundabad, I think, as well, which was fantastic. So that's one enemy down, 2 more to go. Now, the 126th turn, then, there was finally the attack on Rockburg after some very successful sally-out battles, I'd say, but eventually we did actually have to defend the city, or town really, except there was another army here as well. So we had 2 armies for the price of 1, but it definitely went down to the wire, it really did. We were massively helped out by the fact that our cavalry were able to take out the catapults and ballistas of one of the armies in the Saliat battle previously, and our men fought very, very well. It was a really, really good defensive battle, and yeah, we were able to wipe out 2 armies then with that one, which is exactly what you need to do again at this stage of the campaign. But I felt like these would have taken so much time to actually produce in normal episodes, so yeah, I'll stop apologising. Anyway, the 100 well, actually, hold on. Dorwinion actually lost ground to Mordor, which was a real, I think it was the region of the Old Rune Road. So, Dorwinion, they're the ones that we sided with. We actually broke up our alliance with Dale to go with Dorwinion, and now they're obviously going to be losing probably to Dale. And then Mordor are also taking ground off them. So at some point, we may have to cancel that alliance and maybe go back to Dale, or we just attack Dale. I don't know. But then, yes, a whole heap of construction. The 126th... Oh, sorry, wait, hang on. No, hold up. And then we sent loads of troops to the front line. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I was saying before. Like, despite the fact that you might be winning now, you have good armies, you will lose some of those troops in the army. Hopefully you don't lose the whole army. But if you have a steady influx of reinforcements, you keep that juggernaut rolling. And it might be a bit scary with the economics of it all. But you just have to believe in it and trust yourself. And the 127th turn, Legolas actually managed to splinter off and attack Byrig, or Burig, and which was great. We actually finally made some ground on Dunland. And, yeah. And then we also defended the Entwade heroically, I would add. Really solid fighting. And then just a bunch more troop movements and whatnot, as you can see there. Now, then the 128th turn, Legolas actually... Oh, this was when he actually took it. I apologise. And, which, yeah, so at this point, we've defeated several armies of Dunland. Maybe now we can actually push on and move into their territory. And I think once you take... If we were just to take Dunland proper, or not like the region, just... I think there's actually a region called that now. But if you just take their, like, you know, Enid White, if you look at the map of Middle-earth, the Enid White is a region, Dunland is a part of that. If you just take that out, that's kind of... I mean, it would certainly help us out a lot. So, at that point, Dunland are kind of on the back foot. And we're certainly gaining ground. And then there's just much more troop movements to take advantage of the situation against Isengard. And speaking of which, the 129th turn then saw Thranduil finally actually bolstering an army. Because he's going to... I prefer to use him as a commander rather than anyone else, quite frankly. And also, he is actually probably the best general in the whole game, really, I'd argue. That would be going up against... Actually, well, maybe not. But he's certainly in the top 10 generals in the game against... In a late game army, because he's armor piercing in melee, he's got really good defense, and he's even got a really high missile attack. So, like, what is there not to love? I think he's even got bonus against mounts. So, I mean, that would be an interesting idea to make a top 5 generals in Divide and Conquer. Maybe I'll consider it. But then, yeah, a bunch more troop retraining, retaining that experience so that we can march forth and destroy our foes. And then finally, the 130th turn, Thranduil with his newly found army. He has a river battle and smashes Isengard. Whew. And a bunch more troop retraining. And really, this is so this is just a nice outlook then of what we've got. I mean, it's a long road still from here to defeat Isengard, but I think we're definitely on the front foot. This is pretty much how it goes on probably from here on out. We just have one really good army kind of ploughing through, trying to take out these armies. Then you need to take one settlement at least, just and then get your foot in the door and then hold it and then move on again, and ensuring those reinforcements keep on coming through, because then you can keep on pushing with your lead army. And that's exactly what I intend to do. Now, depending how this episode goes, I'll do a follow-up. I'll probably do one more, because I think in the next 10 turns, well, I don't know, I'll just condense it maybe even more. Or perhaps not. Tell me what you think. Because I just want to get to Isengard. I just want to complete the campaign as I see fit, really. We've already defeated Gundabad here, and so we've basically got Dunland and Isengard to go. But anyway, leave a comment, like it if you liked it, and if you don't, dislike it, feel free. But I'm going with Gandalf. Good day.